back to the channel. So I turned the spider gears in the Dodge into Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. So the most logical thing to do in this scenario is to rip the transmission out of my only other driving vehicle for a Turbo 400. Because why fix one and have two that run and drive when you could have a broken one and tear apart the good one? I mean, that makes the most sense to me. Okay, it's out. It's out. It's on the ground right here. Look at that ugly piece of shit. However, we have just one problem. The transfer case adapter on the 700 is different. I have the one for the 400. However, for the one for the 400 is flush. It doesn't have this tower. And I don't have a 400 cross member. I have a 700 cross member. So we're going to have to fabricate something here. I do have the 400 up in there. It's not really bolted in or anything. It's just up in there. And I need to make a 5-inch tower that will bolt up on that, get rid of that bushing, and go on here and use the 700 bushings. So that's what we're doing now. My DeWalt corded grinder miraculously disappeared. So we just went and picked up a Milwaukee cordless. And then they had a sweet deal going, a sweet deal. If you buy this battery pack, the 8 amp hour and the 6 amp hour, you get a free tool. So I got a Milwaukee leaf blower. Because why not? Yes, there's a couch in my barn for when I'm feeling loungy. So we got to get a pen and paper, a tape measure, start drawing and start fabricating. All right, zip 2 test pieces out of this big plate real quick so we can get this welder set nice. Start building this bracket. Our top holes on the bottom of the transfer case are 8.5 center to center. Bottoms are 6 half-inch holes, and it's got to be 4 inches tall. It's going to look something like this. Transfer case up here, cross member down here to make the 700R cross member work. Gotta put this in real quick. If you're using my measurements that I just told you, change that. It's 7.5 center to center, not 8.5. I forgot to add that in the video. I did have to change it. Everything else is correct, but 7.5 center to center, not 8.5. So. I think that's about as good as we're gonna get it for a little 110 welder. All right, all of our pieces are cut out. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all drilled and well prepped already. Let's fit up this bracket. Okay, here's our adapter. This is the bottom, this is the top. Stuck to the table. Square, it's only a 16th out of square over such a short run. I'm not worried about that, especially because there's trans mounts that are gonna have some play. So that'll make up for that. So let's weld it up. Okay. Wow, I covered the screen of this phone with sparks. Holy shit. It's okay because it has one of those glass protectors on it, so I don't really care. All right, well, not too shabby for a 110. Decided to add that in there last minute for a little rigidity. I am contemplating putting 2 more pieces in here to make it a full X, but I might just say fuck it because this is only temporary. I am going to, yes, I know I did not wrap my corners. I don't care to wrap my corners because I'm not at work. And this is temporary. This is just to be able to make the truck move until I sit down and I fab up a full tube cross member for it. This is just temporary. And being that it's temporary, I'm not even going to clean the BBs off it. I'm just going to hang it up and spray it. Okay, that's primed and drying. While that primer dries, I have to find some nuts that will fit on... Oh, where the hell are they? we're fed into these. These go up in the original cross member, and since I'm not bolting into the original transfer case adapter that is threaded, I have to find nuts that I can put in that bracket that will screw into them. So I'm not welding them in. I'm just gonna tighten them down. It'll be 2 wrenches to tighten them. All right off the bat, found 2 lock nuts. So blended. So one thing about the Th400, this truck's a mess, ignore it, requires a vacuum line. So I have this length of vacuum line that was chilling in the Dodge door since I did some vacuum lines on the Jeep, the J20 pickup. And thankfully I have extra, and it should be plenty to run down from the engine down to the 400. So we got that. While that primer's drying still, I'm gonna button up some more stuff with the trans, bell housing bolts, etc. And then we'll get that adapter in that I made, and we'll see how it works. Okay, it's dry, it's in. Missed a couple spots with the paint, but that doesn't really matter all this much because it could be permanent if I wanted it to, but I'm gonna eventually build a tubular cross member for this. Front drive shaft, at the angle you're looking at it, it doesn't look like it, but it does clear. I do have the factory spacers in there still, and it worked out perfect. So if you're Th400 swapping, then you're probably going to want to do something like this if you don't have the original cross member for it. However, I did hear that the original cross member sits a couple inches forward or backward somewhere on the frame differently, so you will have to drill new holes if you go that route. So just time to button everything up. Got all the torque converter bolts in. We got to get the cooler lines blown out because they're probably full of all kinds of junk from the last one. Got to run a vacuum line for the regulator, the pressure regulator there, and then get everything buttoned up and hooked up. All right, everything's hooked up, installed. Took it for its first test drive. Got the vacuum line. You can see it up in there behind a carb there. That goes down to the trans. Don't have a kick down for it yet. Be here Tuesday, but for now we'll just, if I have to, kick down with the column. It's not like a throttle valve cable, so you don't need it. It's not as important. But yeah, it shifted great, ran great, and gonna put the torque converter cover on it and call it a night. Drive it home. So runs great. I'm happy. If you enjoyed the video, if you found something informational or useful, then give me a like or a subscribe. There's gonna be a lot more content with that. Got plenty more content with this. Peace out.